Good morning, and welcome to Dgenz Crypto Daily, episode 7. On this not so amazing Thursday. It's kind of overcast here. Feels cool. It's like winter's coming. Hopefully not sooner than later. Maybe crypto gods will give us something good today. So let's dig in. Yesterday was a shitty day for NFT creators. We are all heard about the SEC doing its thing, right? Trying to take down OpenSeas with the Wells Notice. So let's look at what else is new about this story. Okay, so it was actually comical to notice that it happened as soon as Donald Trump releases NFTs, actually. We all know the situation between Gary Gensler and Donald Trump. Not too long ago, he actually had a rally where he discussed, actually, no, it was at the Bitcoin conference, I'm sorry, where he discussed a lot of things related to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, and he actually said he's going to fire Gary Gensler as soon as he takes office. So that's one of the things he said, pretty much putting a target on Gary. And you know he's going to respond in some possible way. So I'm sure they had this lined up for them, where they had some kind of lawsuit ready to go at OpenSea. They were just waiting for the timing, because you can't just create a lawsuit out of nothing, or an action or an enforcement action out of nothing. So this had to be sitting on the desk somewhere ready to go. As soon as he released these NFTs, I feel like they said, this is perfect. Let's go get them, right? And the timing was obviously perfect, as Donnie would say. And so people obviously are chiming in. You got Tyler Winklevoss saying the SEC government is now trying to claim that the NFTs are securities. What's next? Baseball cards, comic books. Gary Gensler's bad faith and un-American war on crypto is expanding. Digital Web3 creators and artists are now in the crosshairs. Which is correct, right? Because we want to identify NFTs as collectibles first and foremost, because that's essentially what they are, right? We obviously trade them. We obviously try to make money. And, you know, that's what draws us towards NFTs. But at the end of the day, we're just collectors. We love the art. We love the projects. We love the communities. And we collect the art. I mean, just yesterday, in another project that I love so much, which is Tombstone, I bought a NFT that has a crown on it. Spent almost a soul, but to me, I just love the art. I really enjoyed collecting. So to me, NFTs in general are just all about that. I mean, people collect all kinds of stuff. They collect cars, they collect jewelry, watches, even even unboxed toys, which to me is absolutely crazy. You know, displaying them on the wall for the sake of what? Just showing off to yourself. To me, they're displayable items, and so people collect all kinds of stuff. And I think NFTs are part of it. The issue I have with the SEC is that they don't have clear guidelines and laws surrounding NFTs, so people can rest easily not knowing there's a possible enforcement action against them because now they threw money at something, right? So I don't personally think they're going to go after individuals. I think they're trying to go after big dogs like OpenSea for allowing creators to take money in for NFTs in some way of enforcing OpenSea to pay some money regarding selling supposed securities. So we'll see what happens with this story because it's interesting. I don't think this is going to lead to anything special in the NFT world. I think it's just an extortion event for the SEC. They're trying to get some money from OpenSea, and maybe they'll set some new rules and guidelines on OpenSea where they have to declare themselves as collectibles rather than investments. Because I'm sure some projects would list their mint to be part of an investment strategy. So we got to get away from that talk altogether. It has to be collectibles only, right? And the enjoyment of collectibles, the enjoyment of being in a group of people that are sharing the same goals and values and love the art as well. So what else we have here for this? There's somebody else chiming in. Jake Chervinsky says the SEC has fully lost the plot. The idea that a financial markets regulator established in the 1930s would have jurisdiction over digital art in the 2020s defies not only common sense but also the SEC's statutory authority. Thanks to OpenSea for fighting the good fight, and so on. Yeah, we know how this is going to happen. People are going to be really upset because you're removing creativity from the world of cryptocurrencies and really don't want to do that. Adam Cochran says easily one of the dumbest Hail Mary Gensler has thrown, and yet another reason why he has to be out under any new administration. Kamala Harris is not going to do that. It is clear NFTs are art. Can you sell art as a security? And does OpenSea do that? No. So there is another thought about NFTs being a security. This is why we need rules. We know real world assets are coming into existence. And one of the things we are going to definitely see is, I think we still do see them now in the art world. There are fractionalized art pieces that can be bought and sold, right? But not as digital on the blockchain tokens. So tokenizing art in general is happening right now as we speak. I'm invested in another project that actually does that. They fractionalize real art into tokens, and then you buy these tokens, and they're actually a part of the artwork that you're buying. And the issue with that is they may see that as a security, right? Because you're investing into an art piece that is fractionalized into tokens, and that we need clarity on, right? But just buying NFTs for art themselves should not be deemed as a security ever. So again, this is why we have these issues with SEC not giving us guidelines on what things are. They're enforcing action on marketplaces and artists and creators without proper rules. It's awful. So that's that story. The other funny story I saw on CoinDesk was the polymarket bettors losing out on $270,000 because Pavel Durov was released early. That's kind of funny because if you're not aware, the poly market is an amazing betting market that you can bet on basically anything and everything. You know, the release of Pavel Durov, the election results. It's big actually. Lots of money is coming into poly market to bet on things. Early in crypto, we had a whole bunch of protocols that were trying to do the same thing. I think poly market has captured everybody's attention. I think they're the biggest market for betting all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if they're actually regulated. Most likely they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be getting so much attention and prominence. But it's funny to see that the bettors have lost 270,000 because they bet on Pavel to be released in September, and he got released in August. So it's interesting to see about the situation that they're no longer holding Pavel because he's out on bail. So I wonder what happens with the story, actually. By the way, if you're listening to this, we are actually going to have our Dgenz Crypto Weekly, episode 50. We're going to be talking about this story in general and all kinds of crazy takes that we'll probably have for you to listen to or chime in on. And I think there's a lot of going on that we don't know that's interesting to talk about. So if you want more chat about this kind of stuff, I will post a link later. It's going to be today at noon Eastern time with Instylus, myself, and most likely Terry, and any other friends that we see along the way. So this story still keeps unwinding. The Durov story is going to be interesting to see whether or not he plays by the rules at this point or not. We did talk about Toncoin being at a possible support a few days ago when this story broke out because it dropped about 15-20%, and then it found its spot on the chart. So I'll quickly show it to you guys what's happening with it because we don't want to miss it, right? So let's go and check it out on Binance. All right. Okay, so let's look at the chart setup. And so this is the monthly. Let's go into the daily. The daily showed us exactly what we needed to see, right? We had that support. Remember, we're talking about the head and shoulders patterns. So this will be the left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. So it looks like it's supporting at these levels, right? And because it's supporting, it most likely will get price action to the upside. So you'll see a bounce, most likely to here first, maybe get some regression and then straight up to here. Okay. Now, if somehow we turn bearish in the month, we would probably do a double top. So we'll go here, double top, and then straight down. Then it's pretty bad. Then we'll see something like here. Again, we were talking about $2.40. And if it gets crazy, we might see something down to here, which is at $2.60. All right, so if you caught this dip, congrats. You have some time to decide whether or not you want to sell now or not. Okay, sell is at about 6, maybe 7. Okay, and then go from there if you'd like to scalp. Before we go any further, I want you guys to be reminded that if you haven't had a chance to follow me on Twitter or follow on YouTube, please do so. It will help us create more content for you and to keep you up to date in anything crypto related as we move towards the bull run. So if you haven't had a chance to follow me or Dgenz NFT on X, give that a follow, please. All right, so one of the things I wanted to do today is quickly check on price action Velo. We always keep an eye on it. It did have some pretty decent movement yesterday. It was up. It looks like about 5%, 6%. And it's doing what I've been saying all along. It's going to front run a lot of these alts because price action is really, really strong. Whenever there's a dip, alts normally just keep going further down, right? But Velo keeps supporting. I'd love to see that, like bounced a couple of times right here, showed some support. If we have a bullish day today, we should definitely see some expansion to here, maybe to here, okay? And we'll see what happens afterwards. We might top out at this level here just because that serves as a double top. So be careful not to, if you want to scalp, look, if you want to scalp, absolutely scalp at that level, right? If you want to take an opportunity and go, you know what, I like it at this level, I'm going to take maybe 20 at the top, do that at that level. But I'm personally holding. All of our positions are going to be held until we get to the high levels we talked about before, which is at this point anyway up here. So we have the 3-year EMA at this level, which is 16. We have the strong resistance at 30, between 24 and 30, right? And there's one resistance here at 38. So I'm going to hold my position till about that, because I don't feel like it's necessary to be scalping at these levels, at least for me. Now, if you have a smaller position, you want to get more Velo in the bull run, this is an opportunity for you to maybe scalp a little bit at that level, at that 2.8 cent level. But if you have a larger position like myself, it doesn't serve me any good to just keep scalping away. So that's kind of the way Velo looks. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays in my mixed plays, like we talked about before. If you like both, say Velo and ETH, one way to look at Velo is to actually play versus ETH. And as we see, Velo right now is about to pump to this level and then maybe come down, right? Confirm, and then straight back up again, right? So technically, if you have 100,000 Velo, this could turn into 7.4 ETH, right? And you can, take that ETH and rotate it into something else, or just hold on to ETH altogether until about 10,000. The other one I want to look at is obviously Bitcoin. Bitcoin is important to all of us. We want to make sure that it's moving in the right direction. And it is. So it's kind of like what we wanted to happen from Bitcoin, even though we had this regression. It stopped at this level, right? This is the trend line that keeps supporting. It was supported actually 3 times right there. So that's good. This comeback candle is most likely going to keep going. It's going to keep going to about here. And then it's going to make a decision, right? Because we've talked about this. We have this left shoulder, we have the head and the right shoulder to still manifest. And most likely we'll get some regression from that point on. So from here to down, and then maybe we'll get into that final pump into the new year. So as long as Bitcoin is healthy, alts are going to do okay. Because when we look at our indicators and we look at the dominance, right? The dominance has to fall in order to get an alt season. So we got to make sure that this is actually going the other way, even though it's not at this moment. We talked about 59, or maybe this line right here will serve as a form of resistance for this dominance, which if it drops, is going to allow alts to actually start to go. So this is why when you look at alts today, they're not moving as much as Bitcoin. And when you look at coins that we talk about all the time, like Velo and others, and they're doing strong moves compared to, say, some alts, it's interesting to see their behavior. And it's good to have some coins that are front running because it allows you to play off of each other. And this is what Bella's giving us right now. For Solana, let's put in Solana here. We talked about Solana being in this wedge, right? This large wedge that actually started this year. And it's most likely going to keep going. I said, when we're at this level, probably going to drop down, which it did, right? Drop down to the bottom of this channel, and then maybe down to this level, right? That proved to be a good support for a lot of price action. So now if we do become bullish, we can probably get out, right? And the first thing we'll have to do is meet this resistance here at 188. So if we break out of that channel, pump to here, maybe slide right down to touch back, and then we go again. Again, in the previous streams we talked about, there's a chance of this actually hovering in here forever. As the bands get tighter, we can expect a strong move out of this range, and we'll eventually get the breakout. It's happened many, many times before in a lot of price action. So this is most likely going to happen. You want a long period of consolidation. I always talk about this, right? You want a long period of consolidation because this took a long time. I mean, from February of this year till now. And then you'll have a much higher explosive move when this happens, which we all expect from Solana. We want Solana to get down to here, right? 1,000. That's the goal. It could stop at 500, but we really want 1,000. Let's look at our feature for today. I want to look at Say. It's a coin that really I like the price action. I like the fact that if it fundamentally it resembles Solana in a lot of ways. Invested by VCs. I believe its backer is Coinbase Ventures. If I'm incorrect in this, please correct me. Just send them into the comments. Say I'm incorrect, chart. You don't know what you're talking about. If that's the case, please let me know. All right, so let's look at the setup. So clearly we've had wave 1 and wave 2 completed, right? So wave 1 and wave 2 are down here. Wave 1, wave 2, right? So those are the initial waves. Then we have larger wave 1 and wave 2 to complete. So this will be large wave 3. So wave 3. Okay, but this is wave 1, wave 2 of wave 3. Okay. The biggest wave is coming up. Now, I have it on the logarithmic scale, so I'm not sure if we're going to get this expansion. So I'm going to try to change it so we can kind of see it better. All right, there we go. So wave 3 should happen right now. And we can keep going and going and going, but normally we'll start topping out at $1.12, but most likely what happens in bullish conditions, we go right over and touch back. Okay, so I wouldn't even bother to play that $1.16, especially because we had such a long down, right? Eventually when volume comes back, it's going to push right past it. And the price action again resembles Solana. Really, really illiquid token, because I think there's not enough of it on exchanges, so it's really quickly to be manipulated and moved. So if you were unsure where you want to sell, you're better off just to make your orders, your sell orders way ahead of the moves, So you got to predict where you want to sell first of all, and be happy with it, because most likely what's going to happen, this move is going to be really quick, and you might miss that sell, and you're going to hate yourself for it. It's happened to me many times. And so you got to identify what kind of token it is, if it's illiquid or pretty liquid in terms of trading. And I believe SAY trades really, really fast. So where can we expect SAY to stop? Well, let's retrace them. Move our lines all the way to the bottom of the channel, and we get some retracements, right? Number 2 is at $2. Number 3 is at $3. 4 is at $4, and so on and so forth. Okay, can we get to $5? The question becomes, can SAY reach at least 5 billion in market cap? I think it's fair to say that it can. If you look, there's 137,000 people watching it. Okay, so think about all the buyers that are available there. So if you're watching, you're definitely going to try to buy it. And if you assume that 10% of people are going to buy, that's 13,000 buyers, when bullish conditions come back. And we just talked about it moves really quickly, lots of buyers. It's going to have expansion. So 5 billion in market cap is not that bad. I don't think it's going to get any higher than, say, 10. So if we assume it's going to get to 10 billion market cap, that means it's going to probably get to $10, roughly between $8 and $10 on the chart. So let's look at the retracements again. So I deleted it. So does that mean we can get to these levels? So we talked about 10, right? Can it get to like 9 and 10? It's quite possible, because we would have to have a really strong move soon, because say the bull run is during like 25 and 20 into 26, right? So we have all of this space to fill in with wave 3, right? And so if we have all this space to fill in, that means most likely we're going to get this expansion soon. We'll hover in here before the final push, and that will complete the entire wave structure. We will have all of wave 3, and then wave 4 is essentially going to be the bear market of 2026. So we will actually never want to look at SAY again, unfortunately. But right now, incredible buying. It looks like it could get you a 20x at the minimum. And so if you play your cards right, you can actually, find a token that's front-rented the entire alt market, rotate that capital into SAY, get another 20x on top of that, and you're looking great. But it is going to be interesting if it pulls this sooner than later, because it looks like it needs to fill all of this before it gets another leg up. It's a great setup, really, really good setup. I strongly suggest you looking at SAY before any other layer 1 right now. Some people will say SUI is better, but I've been following SAY since 2023, and it's made me a lot of money. So I would strongly look at SAY as part of your token portfolio. We're nearing the end of episode 7. Again, reminder for today, if you haven't had a chance to follow this account, please do so now, as well on YouTube at Dgenz Club. Today we're doing episode 50 for Dgenz Crypto Weekly. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, including what's happening with Telegram and Durov situation, what's happening with NFTs, what are we going to do about them, and so on. So it's going to be fun chatter. I'll post the link later. Before we finish, last thing we want to check is what's happening today. Are we actually going to get some good price action? And one of the things we have to do is look at USDT.D. And of course, if you line up your lines correctly, you would notice that everything works, right? Everything works. So here we had this resistance that proved to be correct, right there, supported right there, was resisted there. I mean, it's clear that that will play a role down the road again. And so I think what happens here is there will be some action at this level, at that 3-year EMA. Will it support and push it further up? There's a chance of that, obviously. But I like to see some action, pushing it downwards, getting to this level. And then what happens is, because there's already 3 supports, right, it's going to break down. Because the more we tap it, the weaker it gets. And I think this time around, if we do tap it again, it's going to go straight through, and we'll have lots of bullish activity. Now, that could mean that we're most likely at the end of September into October. Remember, we talked about October being so damn bullish, right? Again, if you look at October, we only had 2 months in 13 years that were bearish. November, about 4, so September, basically all of it. So we got to keep an eye on everything this September. In a few days, we'll see whether or not this comes to fruition again or not. Even though last year we were almost 4% positive. So you never know, right? But even in a bull market, 2017, we were down 7.4%. In 2021, we were down 7%. So maybe things repeat, maybe things don't repeat. We'll see. Anyhow, I'll see you guys later today. This is the end of the stream. I thank you guys for joining me every single day. It is a pleasure, and see you guys tomorrow.